Well, welcome back to another Coffee and a Chat and a Survival Saturday edition. So today I want to share with you one of the things I do that it helps save me a lot of money. I think it's getting back to doing things in a more natural way. And let me see, I should have adjusted this better. Ooh, there. So now we have a little, mishap with Angie. Anyway, saves money. I think it's back to the more natural way of doing things. And I would say even, I feel that it's for our health. Okay, and that is this. I do not go out and buy a lot of seeds before I plant my garden. Occasionally, I might buy some seeds if there's something I don't have, or I might get a plant. But most of the seeds you buy anymore are hybrid seeds. They are not heirloom. And heirloom means that they're the original seeds. They've not been messed with, and they will keep, they will reproduce like vegetable or fruit or whatever. And most of our plants, at least where I live, I find it almost impossible, unless I go to a big nursery or something where it's a lot more expensive, to find plants that are heirloom. So what I've been doing for several years now is I save my own seeds. And, there's even scriptural principles in that, because we're not supposed to eat our seed, and we're supposed to save seed and have seed to do things. So anyway, now this is just one of my things. So see, it says there yellow squash, and this is just a regular envelope that I put after I let them lay out and dry and get ready, I put them in the envelope. I just kind of cut the top, and then I have a container that I keep all my seeds in, and I file them alphabetically. And then I go through and I pull out what I'm ready to sow. And so this means I've had to discipline myself. So these are yellow squash seeds. Let me see if I can, why is that so hard to put that on camera? But that's what it looks like. And so what that means is when I, last year, grew my yellow squash, and I grew a lot of yellow squash last year. They did really good for me. I went ahead and I left not a whole lot, maybe 3 squash that I never picked, and I just let them get really big and go to seed, get real hard and, and like they do. And then after they had begun, they came off. I think that with my yellow squash, they actually come off the vine. The vine's dead, it's done. And then I take those squash and I open them up, and then I take out the seeds that are in there. And with those, I do wash away as much of the, because inside squash there's always like stringy stuff attached to your seeds. Wash it away, let the seeds kind of dry, put them in the envelope once they're dry, and file them away for next year. Now, one thing I haven't done that I'm thinking about changing is storing my seeds over winter in the fridge. Put my container in my refrigerator and just let them keep cold, because that's a more natural way that those seeds would be. And I've also thought about going, instead of doing the paper envelopes, I might start putting my seeds in glass jars. It wouldn't be my video if I didn't get tongue-tied at least once. So when I grow my okra is another one I love. I will leave, on that, I'll leave 1 pod usually that I just let get really, really big. And again, when the plant dies and it begins to dry up, the whole pod, I let it dry, and and eventually it gets like paper, and it rattles, and that's when the seeds are ready to come out and be put up for winter. I do that with everything. With tomatoes, they're a little different, because those you have to kind of soak to get the gel off of them, and then you can dry out the seeds and store them for next year. The corn, I will leave at least 1 or 2 cobs that I leave alone and just let them, completely mature, go to seed, and just kind of dry up on the stalk. And then when everything's dry and done, then I just kind of, brush on those kernels, and they tend to fall out of the cob and they're ready to go. And so that's what I've been doing for several years now. When I do that, I find that those seeds, even if I don't use them all the next year, they're still good the year after that and the year after that. And they maybe not, I might not have as many that are good out of it. I might lose a few each year, but I have plenty of seed. But like this year, I planted some old seed I had bought like 2 years ago. I still had some, so I went ahead and planted 40-something kernels that I put into the ground, and 1 came up. That's the difference between the store-bought seed and mine. I put mine in, and I just didn't put it in last year's seed, because I didn't really think I was going to need it, and I wasn't really leaning big on growing corn this year anyway. But my garlic, I grow my own garlic, and then I save back so many cloves and then replant those, in the fall, because garlic takes like 10 to 11 months. This year, because to get carrot seed, you wait 2 years for your carrots to go to seed. And so this year is the 2nd year. And so I have a couple carrots that I left actually in my greenhouse, and I let them go to seed. So they're just now flowering and doing their thing. And then I will soon have seed to plant next year. I have found that, you have to kind of learn how to gather the seed from the different plants. Like the first time I tried to keep cabbage seed, it flowers and it puts on pods, and I just wasn't sure. Well, then I found out those little pods are what had the seeds, and and I let them stay on until they dry up. And like the okra, most pods are that way. You just leave them on until they're completely dry, and you just want to make sure you get them before the seed starts to fall out of them on the ground. But I have found that it's fun, for one thing, saving the seed and learning how to do that with all the different plants. It's money that, and seed packets are not cheap anymore. I was looking at them the other day. I saw some in a store, and they were, $2 or $3 for one little packet that didn't have a lot of seed in it. You could tell in there. So yeah, most things, they're really easy to gather the seeds. And if not, you can research it and find out for each plant, how to keep it. I keep my turnip seeds, and I'm not really into radishes anymore. We've kind of let radishes go by the wayside. So I don't grow those, but those were easy to gather. But yes, it saves me a lot of money. Plus, I have taken, even though they'll tell you like hybrid seed won't work, I did this with corn, and I had bought some corn seed that was hybrid, and I grew my corn, and I saved back a couple of cobs and let them dry up on the stalk, and then saved the seed, and then I planted that seed the next year. Now, I've been told by different farmers that I've known over the years, and some who work with genetically modifying things, and I was told, I don't know if it's really true or not, but one of them told me that, well, actually, I think I had about 3 of them tell me that if you keeping the seed, now most of that seed doesn't want to come up, so you got to keep a lot of seed and then hope for a few plants. But if you keep doing it, that each year it gets a little bit more back to its normal, and that by the 7th year you'll be back to the original corn seed. Now, it's not going to be, because what it was a hybrid sweet corn. It won't be exactly that. Same thing with tomatoes. A lot of times, like if I buy a plant or something, or even keep seeds from a tomato at the grocery store that I get, they just grow cherry tomatoes. and because that's, again, they've been modified and changed, and that's what they originally were before they changed them to what they are now. So that's where getting, starting with heirloom really helps, because then it will, if it's a beefsteak tomato, then those seeds won't grow you cherry tomatoes next year. They'll grow you beefsteak tomatoes. So you want those heirloom seeds to start. And, and I've also found, sometimes you can trade seeds with friends. You have something they don't have, they have something you don't have. And, it can be a lot of fun. And I think there's even some online groups that do that with seed sharing. We're having a heat wave, so I'm just going to blame everything on the heat wave today. But anyway, I just wanted to share this with you guys. It's not that hard to do. It's not that complicated. Again, I've had people tell me, oh, you have to do this and you have to do that, and it has to be in this kind of container. And no, you just need something that it's not going to gather moisture, and you don't want it to get hot, because heat will kill the seed. And it needs to, it needs to rest. It needs to feel it's gone through winter so that it's ready to wake up. And I don't know, that might have been the problem with my corn seed this year. I'm not sure. But anyway, I've had a lot of seed that didn't do well this year, and my neighbors are all saying the same thing. There's a lot of things they put in the ground that just nothing came up. And some of them do organic gardening like I do. They save their own seeds. Some, buy their seeds in a packet every year, that kind of thing. So I don't have chickens. I would love to have chickens someday. And I had told Marvin, though, if I do that, I want a rooster, because I want the chickens to reproduce. Because part of being able to survive is not needing to go to the store for everything you need. So if you're doing stuff to survive, to be healthy, to be self-sufficient, to be independent of the system, to control what it is you're eating, then you need to be saving your own seed and not going and buying something new every day. You need to be having your own little baby chicks or baby ducks or whatever, not going, and ordering a new batch every year. And it's way more cost effective. I had talked to someone not too long ago that they have chickens and they sell the eggs. And their eggs are I think they said they have to sell them for $6 a dozen, but of course what you're paying in the grocery store is close to that anyway, or over that in some cases. I've seen some eggs in the grocery for $7 or $8 for a dozen here. But it costs them a lot, because they're buying, they went and got their chicks. They get new chicks every year so that they'll still have hens, that they're raising up for the years to come. They don't deal with roosters. They're, buying all the feed instead of, producing their feed and stuff, which around here is not that hard. There's so much stuff that grows here that chickens love, that you could feed your chickens. There's just, it depends on how you do things. Me, I want to keep it as simple and natural as I possibly can. And, you go back 100 years ago, they weren't going and buying baby chicks every spring. They were raising up their own chicks. They weren't going and buying seed every year. They were raising up their own seed and trading with neighbors, to exchange so that everybody had whatever they were looking for. And my own personal feeling is, I do believe, at least in my life, well, it's already a lot like that, and that it's going to get more so. I just have felt that the Lord told me that back in 2015, and so I've been trying to prepare and live that way, and move in that direction of self-sufficiency. And so seed saving just was a very easy, common sense thing to me to try. So you ought to try it and see. I had a friend of mine, she had a friend give her hundreds, I swear, big box of little baby food jars. And then she was like, because I'm always looking for glass jars with lids and stuff, because I keep everything in glass. And so she's like, do you want the baby food jars? And I'm like, absolutely. So I got all these baby food jars. And then I'm like, okay, what do I do with them? And I started thinking, you know what? That would be perfect to hold my seed, and I could keep it in the fridge. And yep. So I've thought about, I might try that with some of my seed this fall when I start putting stuff up. But anyway, I don't know. What do you got any tips on saving seeds? I just know that you have to do some research because different plants produce seeds in different ways. And like the carrots, I had no idea that it was 2 years, but it is. And so I have to, you know, I try to keep a carrot back, you know, because one carrot, oh my word, one carrot on the second year putting out, I don't even know how many flowers. There's probably 15 flowers on that one carrot, and each one of those flowers produces, I don't even know how many seed, but a lot. So yeah, I'll have plenty of carrot seed as long as everything goes right, and so far so good. So anyway, leave stuff down in the comments, any little tips you've got on that would help us, because I'm always looking to learn more. I learn something new every year with my seeds, and I keep trying to make changes, keeping it as simple and easy as I can, and something that will work. And that's the other thing, you know, you run out of paper envelopes after a while, but those little glass jars, they'll last forever if I take care of them. And they're not hard to stack up and store in my refrigerator. So anyway, there's something for you. I hope you guys are having an awesome day. We're in a heat wave, definitely. So I had to break down and turn on the air conditioning. I couldn't take it anymore. And trusting God for that electric bill, because when we run our air conditioner, our electric bill can get really ugly really fast. So anyway, doing the best we can. What more can you do? And trusting God to take care of everything. All right. I love you guys. I hope you're doing well. And I'll talk to you again real soon.